Today we're gonna go through the process of cleaning your cartridge filter. The reason why my customer out here in St. George needs their filters cleaned, our filter pressure is kind of creeping up towards 30 here when our pump is ramped on high. If you have a pump that's on like a lower RPM, you're not really gonna be able to tell as far as your filter pressure goes. So you really need to have your pump ramped up to that high RPM. The simple way with the Pentair system, this black cord comes into the side of your pump and you have an automation system and you can just disconnect this cord. It'll eventually put us into high RPM. This pump is already on high RPM because we're in spa mode. So as you can see, our filter pressure here is about 28. So we definitely want to start getting these filters clean. First thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here to our automation system. Make sure it's in service mode. Don't just turn your filter pump off, because sometimes your schedules, if you have automation, they will override that filter pump being turned off, and it'll turn your filter pumps off when you got everything torn apart, and you're gonna look like you just went swimming in the pool. If you do not have the automation system, you need to make sure that you turn your breaker off. Our next process, I'm gonna come and I'm just gonna kind of let my air out of my system here. That's gonna kind of let my filters drain down a little bit so that when we take this off, it's not going to spill water all over us here. To take your pressure off for the filters, all your filter systems are gonna have some kind of bleeder valve on the top. This one, we're just gonna turn counterclockwise and it's gonna open us up there. You can kind of hear the air coming out, and basically that's kind of draining us down here. Another thing after you have your pump turned off is you want to verify whether or not your pool equipment is above or below your pool. In this case, this pool is above. If we were below the pool on our equipment, we want to make sure that we're closing all these valves, the main drain, the skimmer, and the vacuum. If there's any other valve, we're gonna wanna make sure that those are closed as well. Because the minute we open this system, if we're below the water, your whole pool's just gonna start dumping into this area here, and it's gonna cause a mess. This is another valve right here. This is gonna be the valve on your return side. This is just a normal ball valve, and you would wanna make sure that that one is closed as well. Today, I'm not going to do that. Because our pool is below our equipment. Another thing with your Pentair filters is these are made out of fiberglass. If you're touching them, either have gloves on or try real hard not to touch your forearms. Taking our filters out is, I have just a 7/8 socket here. We've got our clamp here that kind of holds our top to our bottom, and we're gonna take that off. The only way to get your clamp off here is to completely take your bolt and your spring off. Okay, always remember how your springs and your washers are set up. I like to just take it out and put it exactly how it came off. Then we're gonna come here, pry this just a little bit, give it a little tap on both sides. Be very careful because these are kind of fragile. Okay, we're gonna take our bolt out. We're gonna take our clamp off, and we'll just kind of let it hang there for now. I'm gonna introduce Jesse in here. This is Jesse. He works with us here at Clearwater. You don't necessarily have to have a second set of hands. It is helpful to have two people so we can both kind of pull this up. It is gonna spill a little bit of water out here. You can also drain these over here on the back side. There's a plug. Loosen this plug to drain your system as well. It is not necessary. When you open this bleeder valve, most of your water is gonna come out of it. Jesse and I are gonna take this off very carefully, and there's our filters. These filters are normally white, like bright white when they're brand new. Take it out. You've got your top here. Your top has a filter in the top of it that we're going to take out, and we're going to clean that out as well. We're going to set this off to the side, and then we are going to take our filters out. Very simple. They have just a little spot on the bottom where the hole sits and kind of keeps them all straight, and then this top kind of just keeps them in place. The filters are not directional. You can put them in either way, upside down, right side up. There's no such thing. So this is a lot of, like, if you have animals, dog hair, human hair. Here in St. George, we have a lot of red dirt and red sand and stuff that'll get in there. So that's why our filters are kind of a brownish red tint. It's got a lot of hair and everything. So these ones haven't been cleaned for a while. every 6 months we recommend that we open these up and we clean them out. So I've got all my filters over here. Jesse had already filled our garbage can with some water. Always remember, chemicals added to water. You never add water to chemicals. Today, since we are doing an acid bath, which these desperately need, we are going to use some muriatic acid, 2 gallons. We've got our garbage can here filled about 3/4 of the way full, and we're gonna add the 2 gallons of acid to our water here. Again, as you can see, Jesse's wearing gloves. It's very, very important that we wear gloves and suggested long sleeves, because this acid, if it gets on your skin, it burns and it hurts. If you do not want to do the acid bath, you don't feel comfortable, you can just remove the filters, and then you can just take them and you can just spray them out. That's what a lot of people will do, just kind of go back and forth here, but I'll kind of show you more of the process of spraying it out. As you can see, when we're putting these filters in our acid bath, you can actually watch that acid bath start working on these filters. It'll start bubbling. It'll kind of clean some of that junk and dirt and hair and all that kind of stuff out. And we're just gonna kind of let those sit for maybe about a minute here and just kind of marinate so that it kind of cleans some of that stuff out. Just kind of take them, turn them. We're gonna turn them over because our filters are a little taller than our garbage cans, so we wanna make sure that that acid has had the chance to do its work on the full filter here. Looks a little like a root beer float. You're not gonna wanna drink that, I promise. I'm gonna kind of go like this with them, and then I'm gonna have Jesse pull them out. While we're spraying these ones out, I am going to bring our other 2 over here, and we're gonna let those start getting some acid bath going on here. So now Jesse's gonna come, and he's gonna start spraying down our filters. So we really like to go basically, to start with, like Jesse's doing here, we're gonna go kind of side to side, get all the bulk of stuff out or get it loosened up, and then Jesse is going to go back on the side that we've cleaned and go up and down on it. So a few things to keep in mind here when we're spraying the filters out. We're basically gonna do this with every one of our filters. Your hose water, most people's, is gonna have enough pressure to clean these out. A pressure washer is gonna have a lot of pressure, and it could possibly tear your filters, and we definitely don't want that. So I recommend just a nice sprayer hooked to your hose, and then just spray it through rather than using your pressure washer. So now Jesse, now that he's finished going kind of side to side, loosening everything up, we're gonna go top to bottom, and then we're gonna flip the filter over, and we're gonna do the same thing top to bottom and top to bottom. This is the exact same process you would do if you did not want to use an acid bath. If you were just pulling your filters out, you wanted them cleaned, spray them side to side. Once you've kind of got everything loosened up, then you're gonna come and you're gonna spray top to bottom. With our filters, we do recommend cleaning them every 6 months. Acid bathing them every 6 months is gonna help the life of your filter and keep them a little cleaner. If you're someone that is a do-it-yourselfer and you wanna spray them out every 3 months, you don't necessarily have to do an acid bath on them. I would recommend at least once a year putting them through an acid bath and getting all of that dirt kind of loosened up and cleaned out of there. It really, really helps with keeping your filters clean and also functioning properly. I recommend about every 2 years replacing your filters. Eventually these filters just have a shelf life or a life, and they're gonna get clogged up too many times. You're gonna get stuff in there that you can't get out of there. So about every 2 years, we're gonna wanna just get a brand new set of filters, which I brought some to this project just in case we did need them. Okay, so this is gonna be our clean filters. These ones actually came out really, really clean. As you can see inside, they're pretty clean on the inside. If you're opening up the insides of these and you've just got stuff caked there, even after you've done an acid bath, or you can clearly see as we're kind of rotating around here, any tears in any of your filter element here. Your bands a lot of times will actually tear apart and rip, and it's really important to kind of keep these in a good tight circle, because once it starts coming apart, it's going to expand and it's going to do all sorts of weird stuff on you. So this filter actually came out very nice. It's not going to need to be replaced today. We're going to put those back in, but those are the few things to kind of look for. A lot of gunk kind of piled up inside. Any tears in your filter, or if any of these bands are starting to come apart and come off of it. So the rest of our process that we're going to do with our filter clean is I'm going to take that plug out and I'm going to let this drain. I'm just going to have him come over and just spray the bottom half of our filter housing out here. Our Pentair housings actually have plastic plug on the bottom, but it has like a nut on the bottom that you can use crescent wrench, which is what I'm going to use today, or you can find out what size they are on the bottom. I always use a crescent wrench or a pair of channel locks. Grab it. Just be careful because it is plastic and it can break. I'm gonna get my crescent wrench on my plug and I'm gonna loosen it. Usually a turn or two, and then you can just do it by hand. Okay, and once you get this off, it is gonna spit water out of the bottom. So just be very careful. Once we're completely out, it's just gonna spray. So as you can see, our plug here, it's got some shavings from our PVC pipe. This pool is fairly new, and it's also got some gravel and some dirt and rocks in there. So we're gonna take this little tap on a rock here. And now Jesse's just gonna spray out the inside here. And the reason why we wanna drain this and kind of clean it out is anything that's left on the bottom here is gonna go into your newly cleaned filter. So if we start with the clean housing and clean filters, then at least everything that's going into our filter housing is gonna be new stuff, and it's not gonna be some of the old stuff getting in there. I'm gonna reinstall my drain plug back on the bottom here, clean out the threads a little bit so when we're going in, it's not getting sand and dirt and stuff kind of gummed up in our threads here. Basically hand tight on all plastic. We don't want to break anything. And then we will check for leaks on that later to make sure that it's not leaking. And if we need to tighten it more, we can tighten it more. So now our process for putting our filter housing back together. And this is basically going to be your same process if you're replacing the filters. Just take out the cleaning part. We're going to take them out. We're going to get rid of the old ones, and you're going to replace the new ones just like we'll replace your ones that we just cleaned here. It's definitely a good idea to always drain the housing, rinse out the bottom. Jesse's gonna take our O-ring off here. We like to use magic lube. He's gonna put a little bit of magic lube. That's just gonna help your seals seal and your top come over the top of the O-ring here and not get bound up, pinched, or anything like that. I always use magic lube on almost all of my rubber seals that we have. He's gonna clean out the sealing surface here as well. Make sure there's no rock, water, anything like that in there. So anything that's on here that could basically cause us to not seal properly and to leak. Two very important things before we get going here on putting it together. Always make sure that you have this put back on the top. This keeps your filters in place and keeps them from moving around in here. It's got a filter in the middle here. Make sure that filter's in there as well. And then we're gonna come to putting our lid back on. Make sure you're doing your best to keep your gauge to where you can see it facing frontwise here. And then we're gonna center it. And then we're just gonna kind of give it a little bit of pressure, push it down. And then we're gonna get our clamp on here. And this is the part where it's really helpful to have two people, because he can hold it, get it put in here. One of us can hold it, and the other one can get the nut put on. And always make sure that you've got washers on each side of your spring here, and then you're gonna screw your screw into your clamp. Once we've got it to where it's kind of finger tight, I can let go, and he can use our 7/8 socket and tighten that clamp back up. We're basically gonna tighten this until it's mostly hand tight, and then we're gonna look for leaks, and if we have to tighten it tighter, we're gonna tighten it a little bit more. These ones do require a little bit more tightening and torque to seal these up. What really helps our sealing is gonna be that magic lube. It really helps to kind of get our fiberglass on our filter housing to go over the top of that rubber seal. Jesse, as you can see, as he's tightening, is just kind of coming around and just tapping a little bit on the side so that the clamp kind of stays centered through the filter housing. So at this point, we're kind of ready to put our pump back into play and get everything primed up here. Make sure your bleeder is closed at this point, and then we're going to go over to our automation system. We're tight here. I verify our plugs in on the back there, verify that. Verify that all of our valves are back open if we did close our valves, suction and our return side. So just make sure that all of your valves are open. And then we're gonna come, if you don't have automation, we're gonna flip our breaker on. This one has automation. We're gonna take it out of service mode and we're gonna put it in pool mode, and our pump should prime here. For priming your pump, it always is a good idea to open all of your valves. That's going to give you a little bit more pressure through. Sometimes when we drain these, you will need to actually prime your pump. This one's going to prime itself. We're getting some pull through, but sometimes you will need to put a hose in there, fill your filter housing just a little bit. Most of the time though, it's going to prime by itself. So I'm going to let this prime just a little bit, and then I'm going to open our bleeder valve again and let it push our air out of there until water starts coming out of the top. Okay, got water out. Check that, double check that one more time. I'm gonna verify that our pump's primed. It is. I'm gonna take my valves. I'm gonna turn my skimmer back, or my main drain back down a little bit, so that our vacuum is working, and then I'm gonna check for leaks. It does look like it's leaking a little bit, which I expect because we don't want to over tighten to start with. It looks like we're all sealed up here. As you can see, our filter pressure has gone down about 10 on your gauge here. I guess it's gone down about 8. We're sitting at about a 21. When your pump is ramped on high, which this one is currently because it's in spa mode, around that 20 to 21 is good for your old filters. If your filters are brand new, you should probably be sitting somewhere in the neighborhood of about 18, 19. That's gonna wrap up our video for how to clean your filters. Thank you everybody for tuning in. If you do have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below down here. If you wanna learn how to clean your salt cell at home, check out this video.